My name is Bobby, and I am a physician recruiter for a healthcare system. Essentially, my job entails recruiting physicians for the healthcare system. So some days will be more focused on office activities such as sourcing candidates, screening candidates through phone screens, a good bit of email correspondence, and then also arranging their visits to meet with our other physicians and leaders of the organization, and also to tour our community as a place that they may want to live and ultimately have a family and relocate their family if they may in fact already have one. Furthermore, once their visit has concluded and we have decided that there's a mutual fit, part of my job also entails the contract negotiation with the physicians as it relates to their employment and or affiliation with the healthcare system. That process in and of itself can take from anywhere from 2 weeks to several months. It's an interesting position in the fact that you're selling an organization, you're selling an area, you're selling your community, but you're also assessing whether or not someone would be a good organizational and cultural fit for what it is that you have a need for and what you're looking for. As far as background educationally and skill sets that are really required and crucial for being successful in this profession, I would definitely say a bachelor's degree. And there's no really set field. Of the folks that I know who have done this job at my organization in the past, and including myself, there's been a variety of different disciplines. I personally have a business background. I got my bachelor's of science and business management, and then also I double majored in real estate, which was kind of a commercial real estate focus. So, but some of my colleagues have a variety of different backgrounds. I think a clinical background, to an extent, would be of value, particularly if you have an RN degree or a BSN. I think that would be helpful in kind of understanding some of the clinical components of the positions for which you are recruiting, which are all physicians. So you're talking with doctors about patient care and a variety of things. Having that would be a plus, but it's nothing that's too hard to grasp or kind of learn as you kind of progress in the role. As far as skills, I would definitely say someone who is a good communicator, who is a good listener, who is attentive and detail-oriented, but also someone who can be focused on kind of a long-term project. Oftentimes when we are recruiting a physician, it is for a position that would start actually a year from the day you are interviewing, more often than not. Sometimes fewer, a smaller time window than that, but oftentimes it's more of a long-range plan. So being able to basically compute that in your mind and cope with not having instant gratification, the day of, meeting someone, interviewing them, it's not like at 5 p.m. they sign their contract and all is done. It's typically a very, rather long process, but it is very, very rewarding. Best part of my job, there's many, many parts, but I think the neat part about it is that, I work for a rather large healthcare system, so I am one of 2 physician recruiters. So I really am kind of spread throughout the whole system. I get to see all of our facilities, how they work, how they function, how they all collaborate together, and also integrate with all of the members of our medical staff. So it's not just primary care or subspecialists. I'm really going through the whole spectrum. So from an experience perspective, you get to know a little bit about each specialty, which I think is helpful in developing a good understanding of the healthcare system, but also the medical staff, because at the end of the day, the physicians are the ones who are really the backbone of any kind of hospital. So really being intimately familiar with them and how they operate and function, and also being on a very good personal rapport basis with them has been really, really neat and rewarding. There is a degree of flexibility. You are able to work when you are mobile or remotely. On the flip side of the coin, there are some early mornings, late nights, even some weekend stuff. But that all comes with a balance, and I think that's something that can be managed as long as you're attentive and prudent towards your duties and responsible. Another good thing about the job, it's very, very fulfilling when you have a search that's a critical need of the community and of the area and of the system, and you're able to fill that search and identify someone who's a very strong candidate, who's got great potential and longevity here, and bring them here and to see the work that they've done. And then being part of a larger whole, you're a part of a system, you're part of something bigger than yourself, and trying to make that better. I think having that team player mentality, if that's something that you possess, that's something that you will find rewarding. As far as the worst parts about the job, it can be somewhat stressful depending on the circumstances. The nature of physician recruitment sometimes can be a little political from the medical staff and administrative standpoint. So someone who's savvy in that regard, I think, would do well in this job. But you can't be overly sensitive, and being even-keeled, I think, is important. But the job can be demanding. It can be sometimes stressful, depending on the high-profile nature of the position. Another worst part about the job, I guess, is it can cut into your personal time. Having to make phone calls to candidates after hours, having to do dinners and breakfasts, late at night, early in the morning, and having to do that. But I think there's a level of enjoyment that someone gets from that, depending on their approach towards work and lifestyle. Certainly it's not for everyone, and people with more of a flexible personal lifestyle, I think, would probably adapt better than someone who has a very large family who needs them around the house all the time. You have to have some kind of leeway on the personal side to do a lot of these after-hours things and be kind of flexible on the weekends and weeknights and things of that nature. Another worst part about the job, you do have to interface a lot with senior leadership. So someone who is not comfortable in talking to people who are multiple levels above their realm of seniority, so to speak, in an organization probably would not do well. So you have to have regular conversations with the CEO, the senior vice presidents, the administrators of the facility, the administrators of the hospital, the administrators of the physician enterprise. Additionally, you have to be very comfortable in speaking with physicians, some of who may be more than double your age, who may be standoffish, who may be potentially rude to you. So you have to be able to handle that with stride. Get involved while you're in college through extracurricular activities, expanding your scope outside of just academics. Certainly keep a strong focus on that because that's very, very important, but also you want to be well-rounded and really become involved in various other organizations and leadership positions. That was very helpful to me during my time in college. It helped prepare me in a variety of ways, intangible ways, if you will, that had helped me really be comfortable in speaking with large groups of people who are much older than myself, who were in different levels of an organization. So I think that's something certainly worth considering. Finally, I would also say try to gain some hands-on experience in your kind of chosen area, so to speak, or an area where you have interest during college. I personally interned with the healthcare system that I worked for today when I was, it was the summer in between my sophomore and junior year. I interned in the same department that I work in this very day. And there actually was a 3-year gap between my internship concluding and my employment beginning with the same healthcare system. During those 3 years, I stayed in touch with the folks that I had worked with. We had a very good experience together, a good relationship, and when they were looking to bring somebody on, I was a known entity, so to speak. and I guess the rest is history. So I would strongly recommend gaining some hands-on experience via internships. Even if they're unpaid, the experience will be worth it, more than you may realize today, and that will really set you apart from your peers and your counterparts when you do graduate college, compared to someone who has no experience, because that experience it plays a very, very big role.